So it's tax season, and there's some tax write-offs that you need to know about as a producer. And we're going to talk about them. Let's go. What's up, people? This is Clint with Airbit, and today we're going to talk about tax stuff. I know it sounds boring, but honestly, it's kind of exciting because it can help keep money in your pockets if you know what you're doing and you know how to use the tax code to your advantage. So let's talk about taxes, filing taxes, tax write-offs. Since we're talking about some of the top tax write-offs for producers, let's first explain what a tax write-off is. So if you don't know, a tax write-off is pretty much an expense that's both ordinary and necessary for your music production business. So this could be a variety of things that you actually need to run and operate your business successfully. And what it can do is pretty much lower your taxable income from your business and require you to pay less taxes because you're investing this money back into your business. So, for example, if you made $50,000 for the year in your production business and you had $25,000 worth of, qualifying tax write-offs according to the IRS and what they deem write-offable, that means you would only be taxed on $25,000. So it's pretty much $50,000, which is, your gross income minus expenses, which is $25,000. So you would only be taxed on that net income, which would be $25,000. Now, just because something is a tax write-off doesn't mean that you get to write off 100% of everything. Percentages may vary depending on what that particular item is, category, service, whatever it is. That's the IRS's job to determine how much of the percentage you can actually write off of your income. But either way, it's a great advantage for you to lower your taxable income, pay less in taxes while investing in your business. So let's talk about some of the top tax write-offs for music producers, or some things that you could potentially write off when you file your taxes as a producer. So one of the big obvious ones, and something that every producer knows is necessary and ordinary for our business, is gear, right? So if you've purchased MIDI controllers, if you've purchased computers, laptops, if you've purchased sound plugins, instruments, like whatever it is, anything that you use to produce music, that is a tax write-off. So you can deduct a portion of what you spent on those things and deduct that from your taxable income. Another tax write-off could be if you are renting space for a studio, or you're paying whatever mortgage for a studio, and you have a physical location or something like that for your studio. You can write that off because those are expenses that you need to operate that studio, right? And this can include utilities as well. This can include internet. Whatever you need in that studio facility can be a write-off. If you have a home studio like I do in my home, you can actually write off the area of the space where you work and have your home studio / home office. You can write off the percentage of that square footage as it applies to the whole entire square footage of your house. Whatever that percentage is, you can write that percent off your mortgage or rent, as well as your utilities and things that you use as well. So for example, electric bill, gas bill, whatever, I'm able to write off a certain percentage because I use a portion of my home to run my business. Mileage and vehicle expenses can also be a great write-off. So if you travel a lot to the studio, maybe you don't have a home studio, but you travel to a studio to get your work in, the mileage back and forth from that studio can be a write-off. So you can use, there's a couple different ways you can write off mileage, right? The way I usually do it is, I think I forget how much, but it's around like 50 cents or something like that per mile. So I just create a log of the miles, the address, my starting point, my ending point, and the purpose of that trip. and just write down the miles. And then once you file your taxes, you just type in, or if someone else is preparing your taxes, you just type in, they'll type in the mileage that you drove that entire year, and then you'll get, you know, whatever the fee is, 50 something some odd cents per mile for that. So that can definitely add up. So make sure you're tracking your miles, even if you're doing business meetings, marketing meetings, going to music events and things like that. You can also write off the mileage for those things as well. Let's talk about traveling to a music event, or traveling to a mastermind, or traveling to some type of training that's helping your production business. You can write off the travel for that as well. If you have to rent a car, if you have to get a plane ticket, a hotel, all of those things can be written off as well and lower that taxable income. Just make sure you're keeping proper documentation, receipts, purpose of the trip, and all of that as well, so that you can write those trips off. So if you're going to a big festival or a big event, South by Southwest, that's kind of music related, we kind of need to go there and see what's going on, or whatever it is, those things can be written off as well. You can also write off business meals, meetings, and things like that. So if you're meeting with someone, say you're meeting with an artist that you may start producing or whatever, you guys go out to eat and you discuss, the scope of the project and the budget and how you want things to sound. You can go to a restaurant and make note of who you sat down and met with, what you guys talked about during that meal, and now that meal can be deductible as well. And the percentage of that depends, just depends on the tax code and things like that. So make sure you consult, an accountant or EA or CPA, or someone who's qualified to actually give you tax advice and tell you exactly how those things should be done and documented, to make sure you're doing things the way the IRS would want you to do them. Another great thing that you can write off as a producer is your membership. So if you're a member of the Grammy or the Recording Academy, or you're a member of the Production Music Association, or any type of association or membership for a music related company or organization, you can write that membership fee off as well. So it's pretty cool. So if you're a producer, 9 times out of 10, you have to do some type of marketing, some type of promotion, right? All of those things, advertising, promotion, running ads, paying for an ad agency, all of those things can be written off as well, because you need to advertise your business in order to grow, in order to scale. So your advertising costs, when you're doing Facebook ads, Instagram ads, making sure you keep receipts and documentation of how much you spend for that, because when tax time come around, you can put all of that money down as a tax write-off because you're using it to advertise your business. You need to do that as a business. Now, if you're a producer and you're selling beats online, such as Airbit.com, you're using Airbit, the fee that you pay for Airbit is a write-off. The fees that you pay for any website to do your graphic design, or even paying graphic artists to create graphic designs for you, write off. The people you're paying to actually do your taxes, write off. Paying for your website domain, another write-off. Cloud service, write-off. Audio, photo, video apps, write-offable. Office equipment, this chair that I'm sitting on, like literally right now, it's a write-off. I'm writing that joint off. This desk is a write-off. That monitor is a write-off. This mic right here, it's a write-off. Literally, like all these things that I use every day, all the things that you use every day, 9 times out of 10, it's probably a write-off if you're using it to create content, to create music, to put your music out there, to market it, to host it, file sharing services. If you have to pay a monthly fee for that, these things can be written off. If you're using your cell phone, you guessed it, this is the main theme we're going with here. You can write at least a portion of that off. If you're using it for personal as well, then it may just be a percentage of that written off. But if you have like a business phone exclusively for business, then you can write that expense off as well. So it's pretty cool to be able to take advantage of the tax code, and it's written in place to be able to benefit businesses, small businesses. So as you can see, there's a lot of things that, we consider ordinary and necessary as producers and as creatives. So, make sure as you go through the year, as you're purchasing things that you use in your business, think about if it's ordinary and necessary and if it can be written off, and make sure you take a screenshot or a picture of the receipt for every purchase, because you want to be able to back that up in the case of, you know, an audit or anything like that. You want to be able to prove that you bought this for the business, where you bought it from, the date and the price and things like that, to be able to justify it. So make sure you keep all of those receipts in a nice, safe, organized place. What I do is I usually create a folder in my Photos app on the phone, or you can use something like Cam Scanner to just take a screenshot of a receipt, save it, or you can upload it to the cloud or some place where you can go back and just have those receipts saved in the place in case anyone needs to see them, or anyone who's preparing your taxes needs to see those. And yeah, just make sure you're keeping track of those expenses and things like that. Speaking of taxes and tax write-offs, make sure you pay your taxes. So for everything that you earn in your production business, you have to pay a certain percentage of taxes. I believe self-employment taxes is around 15.3%. So make sure you're paying your taxes off of the things that you've earned, the income that you've earned that's coming into your business. Set a percentage aside. I like to kind of have an extra safety net, so I'll put a little bit more than what the IRS kind of requires, and then I'll just save it, put it in a separate account, so when it's time to pay those taxes, I have that already set aside, and then I can just pay it without having any huge surprises when it comes time to file taxes. So hopefully this information has been helpful. I highly recommend consulting, you know, an actual accountant or a tax professional to kind of help you walk through and come up with a tax strategy that works for you and your production business. If you found the video helpful, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, be sure to join the Airbit Discord community. The link to that will be in the description below. That's all I have for you. Go get those taxes done, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.